Welcome to the Creative Journey series. My name is Rosemary Gerald, and I am the founder of this series. I'm on a mission to share as many inspirational stories as I possibly can. So please like and subscribe so we can spread these stories far and wide. Tonight I have a very special guest, Maurice Lothian, who started off his life as a gangster and a drug dealer, and he has a very impactful story. So I would like to welcome Maurice to the channel tonight. Welcome, Maurice. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rose, for inviting me at most, you know what I mean? Yeah, I believe we all have a story, Rose, and our story is our glory, because you are the pen and paper of your story. You could play the victim or the hero. I believe I'm the hero now. And my story is about wearing your crown. That's my hashtag, wearing your crown, because I believe we're all kings and queens. And I believe when we're born, we're fighting to find ourselves, taking the baby steps, getting smacked, falling down, getting back up. But we stop at a certain point in our life when we go through certain pain, and it changes us. So we build up habits that stops us from really progressing the way we should because of the system and life at that. I am now an inspirational speaker, a life coach. I'm writing a book. I'm also going to make a movie. I'm also an owner of a charity called Maurice to Connect to CIC. You know, I'm going to do a documentary. I'm doing amazing things now for society, but it wasn't always that way. I'm a former drug dealer, gangster, you know. Now I'm a game changer. I lost 2 sons. And I believe that they died for me to save people and show people that they too can inspire to greater heights through their pain, which can become their gain. So I'm going to tell my story. Like I said, it's my glory right now because that pain has been my gain to be here telling it to you, Rose. Do you know what I mean? But first of all, I want to give God the glory. You know what I mean? It's like I have to thank him every day I get up and I show gratitude, and I thank him for breathing because it wasn't always like that. I grew up with my mum and 5 siblings. You know, I was 7 years old when my dad left home. I struggled with that because I loved my dad so much. We was a close-knit family at that time. My mum and dad came from the West Indies, had kids, and we used to have a lot of fun with my dad. I used to cry when I used to see my dad walking down the garden path going to work saying, "Dad, can I come with you?" And he says, "No, son." And I used to cry out the window, looking through the window, seeing him walking. But one day he didn't come back. And I struggled with that when he never came back. Later on in my life, I found out he had an affair and my mum didn't want him back. You know, so from there on, life changed drastically for us. You know, my mum, she struggled with 5 siblings. The social services wanted to take us away and put us in a home. But fast forward, I was going to school and discipline wasn't my greatest thing at school. I was a naughty boy, I would say, at school. My teacher, you know, I believe at school I was getting bullied, but, you know, it wasn't by the kids, it was by the teachers. By the age of 13, they were saying that, "Maurice, you're going to be nothing in life," and putting me in a corner, you know, degrading me. I felt like crying sometimes, you know, but that was life. I wish that teacher had said to me, "Maurice, listen, what is your problem? What's your problem at home so we can help you to progress in class?" But fast forward from that, I left school at 16. And at 16 in London, England, there was no one of significance that I could look up to say that I wanted to be like that person. No one from my ethnic background to say, yes, I want to be like that person. I did try and get a job a few times, but I had trouble with that. I can remember one of my white friends went for a job and he got the job. He said, "Maurice, there's vacancies there." And when I went there, they turned me away and said, "There's no vacancies." You know, I had trouble with that because I was wondering why they did that when there was jobs there. But fast forward, I know at the end of the day, it wasn't the right thing to do, but I joined a drug gang. And by joining this drug gang, I started to sell marijuana. And I soon progressed up the ladder to become a big drug dealer. And when they say money is the root of all evil, it's not. It's the love of money, because I started to love money so much and I had so much money. And I thought I was successful at that time because I had the trappings of wealth. If you look at my Instagram, I am the Maurice the Connector, you see a man of 18 years old with more gold than Mr. T, you know, but I class success now as me telling my story, which is my glory, and speaking my truth, which has set me free. You know, that's success when you find yourself. But after 12 years of selling drugs and going in and out of jail, a catalyst happened in my life where my son, he was 18-month-old, called Dwayne, he passed away tragically at home, an accident at home. You know, when I heard that, I wanted to die. I wanted to commit suicide. I'm being sincere here. I must have only hugged him about 10 or 15 times. Yes, everyone, 10 or 15 times. What sort of father was that? My mind started to play tricks on me. My mum always used to say, Morris, come to church. I would say, Mum, I ain't got enough time because I wanted to party and drink and smoke. But it's been 35 years I haven't drank alcohol. 35 years I haven't smoked marijuana. And I started to look at myself. I wanted, when I look back, a mindset reset. So I went to church. And by going to church, when they say you're a product of your environment, oh yes, I was. Because I was now in a different environment, seeing people dancing and singing and clapping in church. I was used to dancing in the nightclubs and everything like that. And here I was clapping and singing and praising God. And one thing I got to say to everyone, in our darkest moments, we need to focus on the light because you are the light. Adversity introduces a man or woman to themselves. It introduced me to myself because I now took the baby steps in working. I just wanted to prove to my kids, my remaining kids, that their dad could be somebody in life. I didn't want to continue what I was doing, so I left the streets. I mean, my friends still used to come round, the gangsters, and ask me, Morris, are you coming to do out and do things, drinking and partying? I used to say, no, I don't want to do that no more. And I want to say to everyone, I stayed disciplined and committed. And if you stay disciplined and committed, that means you're on the right track. And if you start enjoying what you're doing, that will become you. And I started to enjoy working. I was doing all different jobs, like a salesman, double glazing, selling double glazing and doing all different things. But one thing I can remember, I was enjoying the ride. And within 8 years, I was able to set up a chauffeur company. And that chauffeur company now drove some of the biggest pop stars in the world, like Justin Bieber, Beyonce. I've done Whitney Houston's tour in 2010. You know, this gangster became a businessman through meeting a man at a company that I was working at as an executive driver. He said to me one day, he said, Morris, you're more than a driver. I didn't know what he meant. This man knew me more than I knew myself because he could see in me something of substance. And I started to work for him. And in the end, because he was a hedge fund manager, he was setting up a hedge fund for himself. And he said, Morris, do you want to come and drive for me? I said, yes, I'll drive for you. I could also set up a company, Steve, that will drive your clients. And that's how I was able to set up my chauffeur company. And what I want to say to everyone, if you're the smartest in the group, you need to find a new group because we need to evolve, not conform. But in life, like Les Brown says, if you get knocked down, if you're looking up, get up. And I've been knocked down so many times. My name's Morris the Connector because I'm connected to myself. And when they say ashes to ashes and dust to dust, Morris the Connector rises like a phoenix through the ashes. And I've been knocked down so many times. And this may trigger. In 2007, I lost my sister, my dear sister. I loved my sister so much. And she was now gone through an illness. You know, she was my best friend, you know, but I believed in God and, you know, I got through that. But then in 2010, I got knocked down again when my mum was diagnosed with cancer and she passed away. My dear mum, my queen, real queen she was, because she taught me about love. And with love, there's no hate. We just elevate because love's the highest frequency. And she told me, no matter what, Morris, love and manners and respect. She taught me that within my heart. And me and my siblings used to say, we still have our dad, Morris, at least we still got our dad. But in 2011, my dad was diagnosed with lung cancer and he passed away. You know, he was also my hero, even though my mum and him wasn't together. I got to know him, and I knew why him and my mum couldn't be together, but I loved him dearly because he was my dad. But the biggest blow was in 2015 when my wife of 35 years committed suicide. She left 2 kids, a 15-year-old, a 13-year-old, and a 30-year-old. I now became a single dad running a company and bringing up a 13-year-old. And I went into depression, and I wanted to commit suicide. Many times in the night, I used to say, why me? Why me, God? Because I believed in God. And I believed that God had a purpose in my life and the light was shining. But now I say, try me, because I know why. I know why God was chipping away at me. He was chipping away at me with the pain that he's given me. And I want to say to everyone, the pain is your gain. We have to go through it to grow through it. It's like when I go to the gym to build muscle. Pain I have to go through to build muscle. Life is about experiencing through the pain, because not what we get through the pain, is who we become through the pain. And I say, try me now, because I know that I'm here to inspire people with my story, which I say is my glory. And then again in 2018, I was knocked down again when my son passed away, called Ashley. He died tragically in a flat. He was found dead. But I would say, if I was still a gangster, I most really would have committed suicide, but I believed in God that he had my back. And I want to say to everyone, we get molded all different ways, but when God molds you, he says, walk this way. When he's got your back, there's no turning back. He's pushing you forward. So everyone, I would say, listen, we're either in a storm, going through a storm, or coming out of a storm. We're here to win or learn. There's no regrets in my life, because the way I look at it, there's a reason for everything. Just like Winston Churchill said, he says, success isn't final. We have to go through to come through whatever we need to come through, because that's success. And we never lose. We win or we learn, like I keep saying. It's always up, up and away. You know, we have to think of the times, you know, we have to have the courage, because there's no failure. We have to have the courage to come back over and over again, to be able to succeed in our life, because God has given us the same will as him. They say the will of a man. God gave us time to take us out of this world. He gave us the power to embrace everything in our life. And I want to say, after that happened, my story consisted of moving on from there to going and talking into a school. I was asked to tell my story to the kids to a school. And I started to tell my story and realized that God has given me my story to inspire people, to show people that they too can become who they want to become. And I'm now going to make a movie out of my story, because Hollywood and Netflix wants to make a movie. I'm writing a book, which is getting ghostwritten right now, that's telling my story, you know? And I'm just here to inspire and motivate people to change, because sometimes we get stuck and need a friend to talk to.
Morris, I wanted to ask you, very powerful story, but if you think about, being a gangster, being a drug lord, I mean, how difficult was that to leave behind? Because you made it sound very simple. Is there not like an etiquette or a written code in the gang when you leave?
Yeah, there's an etiquette in the gang of leaving, but I was at the top of the tree. But like I said, they still came and was coming around me for me to still organize the gang, do you know what I mean? And sell drugs and that. But once you stay disciplined and committed, and that catalyst that happened drove me away from that. And I would say that right now at this point, that was a learning curve for me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So when I talk about mindset reset, I resetted my mind by going through the pain of saying to myself, I no longer want that. I had to distinguish the good from the bad. Whereas when I was growing up, when we talk about learned behavior, we'll talk about learned behavior, and we'll talk about habits. The habits determines your outcome. So my habits at that time in smoking and drinking and the drug gang, it all became a habit. Do you know what I mean? But change the habits changes you. And I changed from drinking and smoking. Do you know what I mean? So therefore, it changed my mindset in thinking different to become different.
And also just thinking about it was almost as if God was setting you up for leadership, getting people to do what you wanted them to do because they had to respect and trust you to do what you had ordered them to do.
I would say I went to university on the streets. The uniqueness of what we have in us is waiting to come out. And that was a learning curve for me in my story. Thoughts determines the outcome. There's an outcome for everything. So you become what you think about. The power I have now, like Superman, it's about empowering now. It's about leading, because it's not about, you know, control with me. It's about empowering, you know.
And also, Morris, when you told me about how much you loved your dad, and when you watched him go to, I can imagine the little boy watching his dad walking down the garden path to work, and then he left and you grew up without him, and yet God has now made you the father of many children because you are doing so much work and you're a role model for so many young children and young boys and girls out there, which is pretty phenomenal. So you've actually become a father of many sons and daughters.
I went to Ethiopia last February because my daughter moved out there through COVID and she's a teacher. So I went out there to see her, and I went to a school in Ethiopia, and seeing the kids that didn't have so much pens, pencils. If you look in my Instagram, I am Morris the Connector, you'll see some videos of me buying gifts for the kids and then distributing them to the kids. And I came back here with the vision and mission, Rosemary, of before I die, to get resources out to Ethiopia so that those kids can become champions in life, because they're the future, you know. So I've set up a charity where I'm now in the process of getting grants and getting resources out to Ethiopia, eventually build a school, have a school in London for alternative learning and life skills and empowerment. And that's what I say to the kids. Don't let no one take your dream, because your dream was given to you by God. No one can see your dream. So what you believe and you're happy doing, keep doing it, because that will become your gift. And that will become your purpose in the end. People struggle while we're here. And I'm saying to everyone, through my story, I believe we're here to show compassion and love to everyone that I meet. It's not about me no more, Rosemary. It's about the love that I give. My cup's overflowing. I have so much love to give, Rose. And that's why I show so much gratitude to God and to everyone that I meet. And that's why I want to show gratitude to you today for having me here, and to everyone that listens to this.
In a lot of your posts, you had a tagline, "Wear your crown." Would you like to tell me about that?
Yeah, wear your own crown comes from my story, because I believe I never used to wear my crown because I never knew who I was. I never believed in myself. But it's not seeing is believing. It's believing is seeing. Because if you believe, you can see things clearly. Faith is believing what you can't see. And now through my story and through the pain, I'm wearing my crown. And Muhammad Ali said this quote. He said, "The service to others is the rent we pay for being here." And wear your own crown means I'm a king now. I'm doing the things that God has blessed me to do. And that's my gift and that's my purpose. My mom used to call me a parrot, Rosemary, when I was 7 years old. And my kids, I used to cry. And here I am, speaking for a living. That's why I want to say to everyone that's listening, there's something out there for you. Get up, like Bob Marley said, stand up and stand up for your rights, because the secret about getting ahead for success is getting started here, now. God has given us time to take us out of here. This is not eternity. Let's just do it and do it and do it and do it. So long as you love it, you'll become it.
Morris, what a beautiful, inspirational story. I just want to thank you so much for coming onto my channel and sharing this incredible story that I really believe is going to touch a lot of people and give a lot of people hope. And hopefully through this, many, many people will be wearing their crowns. But I want to ask you, if people want to follow you, where can they follow you? So you are on Instagram.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. I am Morris the Connector on Instagram. You could connect to my website, which has got many blogs and some videos on there. morristheconnector.com. My email is info@morristheconnector.com. You could connect with me on Twitter, Morris the Connector as well, or on LinkedIn, Morris the Connector. And I look back and connect the dots going forward now. You understand? Because I'm able to connect people's dots as well going forward in showing them that, listen, the light's shining bright here. What a story I'm going to leave behind to inspire people. And that's what it's about. It's not what we give to our kids and to people. It's what we leave for them in the end.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the incredible Morris the Connector. Thank you so much, Morris, for joining the channel, and God bless you.
Thank you for having me, man. It's a pleasure. And thank you, everyone who's listening right now.
Yeah.
Go and do it. Keep doing it, doing it, doing it, and you'll get there.